Hello and welcome to another edition of From the Toll podcast. With us tonight we've got two guys who've been involved with Finnart for over 30 years. On the right we have Phil Blair and on the left we have Stuart McKechnie. These guys, as I say, have been involved in the club for over 30 years. Guys, hello, welcome along to the podcast From the Toll. How are you doing?
Fine.
So Phil, tell me a bit about yourself, how you get involved with Finnart and how it started for you.
We'll start just hitting the ball out the street. And guys like Billy Horton, Freddie Horton, Tom McShane, myself, Davy Blair, 7 years or something. And there was some wee young years there. We wanted to start a team. So we taken it from there. Had a couple of bounce games against the Territorial Army for the shopping.
Right.
And we just taken it from there. Started building a team.
So Stuart, when did you become involved with Finnart? How did it go?
A couple of years after that, Phil had asked me if I wanted to sign for Finnart, which I did, and then proceeded to play for about 15, 18 years after that. Then picked up on the managerial side of things, and I've been there ever since.
So you're saying they're playing, you used to play in the same team for a while, aye?
Yes.
How was Phil to play alongside?
Aye, good. Gave it his all. Aye. Seen a guy that wanted to win every time he put the boots on. Every game meant something to him. Aye, superb. I like that attitude. Loved it.
What about yourself, Phil? How would you say Stuart, type of player Stuart was? Or?
I had to rail Stuart up quite a few times to get him to kind of fling his centre forwards a bit, because sometimes they give him a hard time. But you always seem to get that long leg of his in and clear him.
So, memorable games for the two in the same team. What's a memorable game for the two of you? Phil, what about you? Your memorable game?
First trophy, I think, Stuart, isn't it? That's the new trophy.
Aye, that was a good memory getting that borderline.
Yeah, first final we went to, we won that, Jackson Youth Trophy. Colin Jackson's, somebody is Colin Jackson's man.
Aye.
Aye, that was my first trophy, and it started going for there, started building, and then everything that's going on in the room is off for 8 days.
Aye. When did you realise that you had something good? You said obviously, well, as you just said, they're going for anything new. When did you realise that, hold on, this could be bigger than we thought?
I don't know.
I felt it was good right from the start. As we said earlier there when we were playing the fact that when you asked about opinion of Phil as a player, and I was saying about the winner and all that, I thought that carried right through the team, and I thought we could really do something with this team. Really, after that first trophy, go for more and more, and then the link that Finnart's always had with the Scottish Cup, you know, everybody's dreaming at amateur football to get. Let's see how far we can go in that, and as they say, the rest is history with that. So, aye, right from the early days.
You talk about obviously the Scottish Cup and everybody's dream. My recollection if probably we yourselves definitely, is we were totally different in East End, especially this side of the city and all that, where teams came to play didn't realise you were playing on gravel for the Scottish. They were playing on that John Street, as I used to call it, the slick in the beach, man. One was no gravel and the other tons of gravel. You didn't know where the bounce was coming from. So how did teams feel coming there? Did you like that when we were bringing a team there, they looking for grass? You know what I mean?
Aye, that happened with a lot of teams that came down to play us. We always were looking for grass, but when they travelled for like Edinburgh and Aberdeen, Dundee, or they always played grass. When they came and they seen what we were playing, it was a different story.
Culture shock. They knew they were in for a game, eh?
It's like a advantage for us. But even when we went away, we were good on the grass and all. So, we are quick built for it.
I used to take the phone calls to the opposition and whatever in the days, and part of the job was maybe I had to give them directions. So during the course of giving them directions, you would always go, if you've any bother, just use a phone. So the guy was, more often than not, the guy would phone us and I'd say to him, right, I'll get you at Brigton Close. So I'd get them at Brigton Close and drive them round. Then I would walk them round to John Street School and they'd look about and what have you and all that. And they'd go, that's right, where's the park? This is the park. It was priceless. So many times that happened.
I remember it was a team for Aberdeen, I can't remember who it was, but it was Jim Hamilton was there, I remember, the professional football player, Sid Brothers team. He was down to watch and that's what he said when you were in getting ready. He said, remember where is the pitch they play on? I said, that's it right there. Is that you kidding me on? Radash, Blaze? I says, aye. But I always remember it. But a lot of teams must have got a wee reality culture shot when they came down. As you say, when you went to the grass side of the other, you was going to play on their pitch. You've adapted well, you know what I mean? Well, it showed football. Football players can play in anything really. And you said that.
As you were getting right, we didn't start in the Scottish, I think, till literally 5 year, or 3 year after we started, or 4 year after we started in the Scottish. And we had some brilliant, a wee Pat Farrell, Ollie Hall, there's quite a few in there. Quite a few players that have been Finnart for about 17, 18 years. Success in them all.
Imagine some of the boys that were playing you should have been playing higher level. Do you think that?
I think so. And that's how I was going to say to you. After that, they've waited 3 years and then getting in there. None of the boys were, as you say, boys for East End, they were never phased. Whether it was a jaunt up to Aberdeen or Edinburgh, never phased with the game in front of them. I noticed that fairly doors or not. Nothing phased them.
So, your first Scottish Cup final he's won. Where was that against and where was that?
Murphy, Cumbernauld now.
Whereabouts it was that Rob Royce Cup? No? Aye.
What was the name of it? What's the name of it?
Putting the spot there.
Close that there.
So how did that go? What was that like? What was the score that day?
They went in penalties.
We struggled a wee bit first half, didn't we?
Scotland died. They're running 1-0. 2-0 up and 2-1, 2 each.
Let them back in it, didn't we?
They went back in it. Then it went to penalties. That was over again for the Scottish.
Aye, it was.
So see on winning that, did that make you as a management team and players and your players and about you, did that make you more hungry?
It was really scrubby. Stuart and Billy Hawkman.
Right.
I was playing there. I wanted to play there, so I was centre forward that day. Done all right, honestly.
You ones were struggling if you were up front.
I was up front.
So that was your first one. What was the one at McDermott Park? The first one at McDermott Park. But the first one I went to was, as I always say, Ronnie Houghton. That was played. Scored 2. He came on as a sub, didn't he? I think he came on as I did. Aye. That was the first one I ever went to. I remember bits of that. You know what I mean? And it was mad because it was like your local side amateur football, but it was busloads leaving for Brixton Close going to McDermott Park to watch. Aye, you know what I mean? Just that and all. How do you remember the days and how does that feel to be part of them and managing them?
I think that everything we done was every year we tried to hold the team because we both players. At the same time we had people like Pat Farrell, John Bannigan. They guys cut by us and they leave us, you know what I mean?
Aye.
Remember the first time I got Hoddy John Bannigan? Playing against him in a Saturday. I kicked him rotten. After the game I said to him, you should come down and play with us, you'll enjoy it.
Aye, because nobody getting kicked, that's how.
Aye.
See, sorry for carry on.
Oh,
See that, like, as you mentioned there about you being there, and then it was like a local game because of the crowd we had and all that, and loads of, women with their kids for this area. You had a wee feeling that, community, you'll know all about that. Really, if you were doing a wee bit for the community as well.
Aye.
Good.
I remember in all one of the games, as you say, you remember this yourselves before, obviously, I got involved with the actual team, the set-up. We went along, buses came along, we'd made flags up, we made the flags for the mains. I'm sitting doing face paint like an absolute idiot, man. Must have painted 100 faces that day. And I'll tell you something, it wasn't just Wayne's that wanted their face painted, you know what I mean? Some of the adults and all. Just see the women were there all back behind supporting you. They'd made flags up, the big banner up and all that, you know what I mean? T-shirts a lot. Just things like that. That does, it brings a sense of pride to the community, and it shows that the name itself is synonymous with the area. It's a community club, and you can see that today where these are today, where the actual academy is, how that's gone, how many teams are going through, how many kids, and it's not just boys, we've got the girls set up now as well. So for you guys, for plus years, 40 years, 1979 in fact, for 1979 to now, you must feel, well, I know that anyway, looking at it, how I feel about that, how that's evolved and how it's went from just a Sunday football amateur side, one set up, to having maybe 12 plus teams, plus a girls, you know what I mean, a side in there, the amateur side, and they're playing, and every one of them are, if they're no holding the rain, they're winning, you know what I mean, so they're doing really well across the full board. So as a person like you must feel really proud of being something part of that, to build that 40 years ago to the now.
Yes, aye. Great feeling to have been there for the start. Aye, chuffed with that.
Go and build the new. I think Ian Woody and Jamie McGowan, it's the first time we started with money kickers.
Aye.
And I put that out, the flyers out in the pubs and shops in Brighton, thinking we'll get about 2 people. I couldn't believe it when that happened. There was 70 odds and I had 50 mini kicker strips. Just couldn't have enough for them all. Maybe it turned out.
But to see that on that day where you had a wee idea, you're putting out flyers, and I remember in all we were doing the flyers, we had the flyers going out in a couple of different languages. Remember, we had the Polish and that, and we had front and back. The flyer was double-sided, so that if they couldn't read English, they had the other language, a couple of other languages. Even just the phone number, and this is how you get in contact in a various amount of different languages as well. So it was really, really good. That's probably how you got that big uplift. Obviously as well, you probably got the uplift of people just wanting shot at their veins, because that's what we thought at the start.
Well, there was one night me and Woody walked about to be, starts at 6 and finishes at 7. We still ended up with these 4 lanes. Couldn't find our mags, couldn't get them in the house. Me and Woody for 8 up to 8 o'clock, walking about these 4 lanes, trying to find our mags. You can say they were sitting in some pub somewhere, you know what I mean? But that's what me and Woody, and I think we need to do something about this, because this is not right.
Aye. So on the mini kicker side of thing, it's grew, you know what I mean, it has grown, and we spoke to Jamie Marr about that as well. Hopefully it'll be Jamie McGowan, as you say, Woody, guys that were instrumental in pushing that for the start. I mean, the stories, the ice cream story is the best. I still love it to this day. Everyone's running about wanting cones because the van's pulled up, you know what I mean? So that's fantastic itself. So we came a wee forward. Let's go back a bit to when the Sunday team was coming to an end. How did they come about that we were gearing up the Sunday and we're moving into a Saturday? What made you decide that as a club?
Well, I think it was the last time we won the Scottish Cup. We did it 10 men, just after half time. And still won 4-0. And plus, when we won 4-0, there was a lot of things happening that some of the players wanted to play on the Saturday. So we taken a gamble on that. And I thought, but to me it still worked out, although we had a lot of success on the Saturday team. But when you look at what kind of players we had on the Sunday, beat anybody. Us smashing players, cracking players. And I remember that the first time we won the Scottish must have been 1,600 teams or something, 1,700 teams. The last time we won the Scottish was 200.
Right.
So that's the hell of a big gap in amateur football.
So did that?
You see a lot of parks empty on a Sunday.
Well, it's changed now though, isn't it? No, there's a lot more structures changed a wee bit. They've got over 35 leagues as well, trying to take up pitches. You've got a variety of different organisations as well. Was that a big deal for you moving from the Sunday football into the Saturday? Or?
Yeah, because you could get left behind and we had to start somewhere.
How did you feel the players made that transition with the teams you had? Obviously, because Sunday, if you were playing Saturday, you could play Sunday. If you were playing Sunday, you were already playing Saturday. How did you get the players to commit that were already playing Saturday?
Well, a lot of people were playing Saturday were playing on Sunday, and a lot of good players. And but they were playing the good sides on a Saturday, and so we had to compete with that. And we couldn't get the players that won the Scottish Cup players to sign on a Saturday, so they still played their teams that they had on a Saturday, and then we played the other teams on a Sunday. Just try to play it what suits sometimes.
So how long's the Saturday team been gone now?
7 years.
7 years. I didn't want to move for Sunday.
Didn't interfere with your balls, Stuart?
Eh?
Interfere with your balls, no?
No, I don't quite interfere with my balls. No, I don't know, just felt members are opted to give up. We had a load of meetings, didn't we? And I kept pushing for it. No, we'll try and do both. But,
Well, that was another thing that they did try and do both. I mean, Jamie, Winky, Joe Reid, people like that all try to keep the Sunday going, but it was hard because it was hard to get the right people in, and it was hard to try and get a balance between the Saturday and the Sunday. Guys like yourself were stuck between, is it the Saturday or is it the Sunday? You're trying to take a step back, but you still want to go and support them and be there for that Sunday because that was always your team. You know what I mean? But I know it was hard. I mean, I remember it. I think why we did this, and I was a bit like you, Stuart. What's the point of going Saturday? We don't have to. We're good on the Sunday. But looking back now, I think it was the right time for us. You said we had to move on, and I think it's gone all right. The first couple of seasons was maybe hard, but it was struggle. But you get there.
Our first year in the manager, we got to quarter-finals in the West and quarter-finals in the Scottish, so that was our first year. But the year after that, we couldn't get the players to be there that we wanted. But you know, a lot of teams are running about this side of the city, and they're good teams. And guys wanted to stay with them because they're more recognised as when we worked for a Saturday team.
If you're just starting out, you've not got that name, you've not got the clout, so to speak, by being there for X, Y and Z amount of years like you were on the Sunday.
Sometimes we're not wide enough, you know.
I think sometimes on my Saturday journey, if you want to call it, sometimes we've played games in the leagues and we've been excellent, the pick of the bunch in the league, but never been able to do it consistently or a season. But I don't know exactly the reason, but I've been really hit some highs and thought, she's going to rip it right up here, right through this week. But just couldn't keep the consistency.
There was one season that was over, I think it was over 100 goals on the points system, and the highest points and all. Sure, that was one season that's the best, or the most goals scored and the highest points we won the league with to go up. You know what I mean?
To get promoted? Aye.
You know what I mean? So the Saturday at times I liked it and all, Stuart, don't get me wrong, it's different football and you're like, it's something different, and as you say, sometimes it clicked and other times you go in maybe 3 or 4 games on a run, you're thinking, this is it, and then all of a sudden you hit a bad patch again. And you're away, teams away doing low, people are not turning up, not making training, the heat's go down, and then you're back to square one, you need to try and lift them up again, you know what I mean? So
see when they're not playing the right at the top of their game with that confidence and all that, as you say, if the levels go down, it takes a bit to get them up again. It just doesn't happen all night. So it'd be good to get that consistent all the time, and they'll do it because of the ability and everything's there.
First question.
Moodiesburn was the team, the Scottish, there you go, that's it, a wee bit of ranking of the brain. Obviously it was the Scottish and that, and well, during this has actually came about obviously because of the lockdown stuff, where we've done the 20 questions lockdown. Phil, you've done one round of your 20 questions.
Yes,
Stuart, at the point you've not done any. I don't know if you've seen any, but Phil's first stint was I think it was the first 10 year. He was talking about the first 10 years, so you got another 3 to go. So you have basically to deal with it. What it was, Stuart, was just a wee 20 questions regarding who was the funniest player, who's the most annoying, just things like that. Going through the questions were there. Just between the two of you, who's the best player you think you've ever had playing with you? Because this is good because you've got maybe have a different opinion, you know what I mean?
best player ever at Finnart.
I think you have that.
Or maybe you've got 2 or 3 who've been really good. You know what I mean? Like you've spoke about like wee Pat, Brannigan, Sands, Steph Baxter's been good. I mean the players that I've seen most of them myself.
Steph Baxter, great player for
Excellent player to have in the team.
Never really sat in the thought about who could be that player, but I always liked the dancer, liked to be Farrell. Even Tom McGee's a great left back.
That was consistency for McGee's. Shut weekend and good. Sands' name will always get mentioned. Actually, Sands will always get mentioned.
What about keepers? You've had a few goals. You've had Archie, haven't you, big Archie? You've had
Big Murray is excellent.
Seymour. The rat catcher he's called.
Big Davy Collins.
Another one.
The chair. That's what they call him.
Did Freddie Horton play a goal back in the day sometimes?
Oh, and he go over there. Like a long big shed, yeah.
So that's one that when you're doing your lockdown stuff, we'll get you doing an Austria. You can think about that in advance. We'll ask you your best. Not a best of it because it's too hard. I mean, people do it in New like you're in Scotland and things like that. It is really hard today because a lot of the boys have been doing the lockdown questions and they'll say, oh, him, and then two or 3 lockdown questions later, maybe Philip was on or Big Smith was on or McD was on, and he'd say somebody else and they'll be like, oh, actually I forgot about him, how can I forget about him? And it's trying to do thing.
It's really hard.
But it's just trying to put everybody in their place and give everybody a wee mention. I mean, the amount of players, you just think about it, 40 years, right? Many players have been through the doors.
Too many to count.
I know.
I mean, so we always ask when we're doing this, what do you want to see for the future if not? And most people are the same guy. They want to see the team progress, they want to see the start of the team get better, they want to see the academy get better, but penultimately they're wanting facilities. I know this is something that we've always spoke about and you're very passionate about it an awful. Stuart, you're probably the exact same, because there's nothing better having your own bit of land, your own bit of ground. Where do you see the next 3 to 5 years? Do you see that happening? Do you see it as a possibility? Or are we just kidding ourselves and do we need to get a sugar daddy win a lottery or something?
Could be a possibility in that, because what are the things to do? If it wasn't for lockdown, we'd have new road there about what's happening. It's like starting all again. I'm talking to people that matter in
the right places. You think it would be beneficial to have your own venue?
Different class. We used to go down to Phil, who was the boy down that had the team, and remember he says he'd get it all together, put them in hospital. And he had to speak to us back to the club room. The guy couldn't have been to show us everything that was there. You feel a wee bit of envy, maybe envy's not the right word. Haldane, the boy that ran Haldane. And he said getting it all together, a clubhouse, fighting with the council to get the bit of ground and all that, because they had nothing before it. But he ended up getting a bit of breakdown and all that boy. Because everything that was the work that had went into it, the strain he put himself under. So fair play to him for that, but that would be something special for here.
I think it would be a base, obviously it would be then, not saying that it's Finnart you've made it, it's Finnart, the academy, the whole thing about it is something for the community to identify. You know what I mean? As you say, like, we see it with the kids, the parents are there week in, week out, they're supporting the men, but to have your own venue, your own committee, your own training centre, your own social club venue, all income generates and it helps the team. I mean, just imagine having your own social venue where the money you raise is straight back into supporting every one of your teams. You know what I mean? And that would be amazing, I think, anyway. You know what I mean? For that.
I've got to try and, me and a couple of the other ones in the committee, we've got to try and get all the other coaches to buy into this. And they knew it doesn't seem to be happening that way. And that adds a killer at times. Because when you talk about it, some of them just don't want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So what we've got to go to try and do is get them on their side and explain to them what's really happening, what we can do.
Surely though they would see that the benefits of having your own facility, because then you wouldn't be paying out as much as you're paying out for the higher
Well,
training.
we pay about £8,000 a week to the green. That's
Some outlay, innit?
a lot of money.
But we have to see all the years, you lose count of the amount of meetings that we've had in here, and we've had people for the council doing. There's a certain branch that is it you know the name, is it Glasgow Life?
Glasgow Life, yeah.
Guys have been doing, and they've came down and listened to everything we've had to say, and give us their views, and you walk away from the meetings and think to yourself, we're close now to this, but for one reason and another, it doesn't come off.
Mm-hmm.
We thought at one time the Richmond Park, there could have been a good base for us.
Yep.
We could have worked on it. But when you see the Richmond Park now, man, it's just covered in rubble for the development that's going on.
The Richmond Park we go for a year. And we couldn't even use it. For the simple reason it's coming into August. You know what I mean?
But the fact of the matter is,
Yep,
and there was no lights, they weren't letting us put a fence around it to protect it.
And they gave us a year. We need somewhere like 20 days, 25 years.
Because if you get a lease like that, then you can put down a foundation. The people who are leasing you the land then see that you're making a difference, not just to the land but to the area. And know what? They don't realise how much it brings down vandalism and that, because if kids have got somewhere to go, somewhere to do, something to focus on, i.e. the football's on 4 or 5 nights a week, they can go there, they can actually watch it training, you know what I mean? They don't need to be involved in it, they just want to go and watch your training. You know what I mean? That takes them away from hanging about places, vandalising as we know around about. So Glasgow Life, as you say, Stuart, they've been there a lot of meetings, same with people from like Hampden and that, and Sports Scotland, it's guys like that, but it will penultimately fall, you need to get your coaches on board, and we all need to be singing for the same hymn sheet, you know what I mean? So that's something for us as an organisation, we need to make sure that we're putting that point across to them and how it can be better for them as well, not just us.
Well, a lot better because then everybody will get a slot to go and train, and we're doing it ourselves. Although we'll still be playing our games at the Pleasure Green, we'll still have that part available for training for the full week. And we need to use the parts at the Pleasure Green because there's that many teams going into 11 now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5, I think there's 5 young teams in now that are going into 11s. So they all need parts. So the green is our base, and that's where we want to play everything.
I just wonder how you made the point earlier there about how it would be an effect on less vandalism and them coming on. I just wonder how they kind of see that. What a lift that would give to the whole area, everything. And there's no getting away with it. It certainly would be looked after. Everything would be looked after about it, and hoping to build it on further, as you said. If there's going to be a community side to it, isn't there?
Community ownership, you know what I mean? You give responsibility to people within the community, becomes community ownership, they take pride in it, and then, as you say, the responsibility is there for them, so it's going to be well maintained, well looked after, you know what I mean? Still not and all that, obviously we're community, but we might be getting back into it, the lockdown stuff. How have you been dealing with that? Football, Stuart, I know you're not really doing much because you're more secretary side of stuff, phoning about, booking places, making sure the venue's high. So there's nothing you can be doing because there's not been a game, a ball kicked.
Nothing.
Phil, you on the other hand, you're the exact same, but you've been trying to get. Have you been in touch with coaches to try and make sure that they're,
It's not doing the every coach in here, just to trying to make sure everything's alright with them.
Aye.
And they've still got the same.
See, it's hard because you could lose kids. You know what I mean, it's been that long, 5 months without football. That could you could lose a player in there easy, actual somebody who's really good.
All the young ones that are coming through and the coaches that are there with them, I think the coaches lead really well. I like watching the way they train the games, and I've got a lot of good things to say about them because I think they're doing a good job. And they work hard to keep the games, keep them going. Even when they're locked down there, they're working hard doing that. I've got a lot of good coaches here. You know what I mean? And they're building some nice new teams. Let's
talk about trips out, trips to the venues, getting lost, maybe before the game, after the game, turning up. I'll start us off with a journey I liked. Dundee semi-final. You've shouted and Derek done to tell the driver, how do we get to Tannadice? But I'm not even playing, we're playing it. Was it Dundee Violet or Dundee North or something? We're playing it at junior ground. And Derek says, I don't know, you need to ask Toby. So I asked him, and I says, I don't know. You're like, how the hell did the two of you know? You go to these grounds, week in, week out following your team. And both of our answers are the exact same, because usually we're half canned by the time we get to this place. We don't know directions. But we get here, and the game's off. So it is. And we just stays. We stays, we goes back to the club and all that with him, had a few beers, well, more than a few beers. And they're like, I can't believe you have stayed and all that down the road. Obviously, we had to stay, no point down the road to pay for the bus anyway. So then obviously goes down the road, he goes back up the following week. So they obviously played in it, that was the one. Danny Maff just decided they were back to sub themselves with you, and you was like, you're like, what? And Owen end up with Owen, Danny scored, I think the winner with a penalty or whatever it was, but when Owen won that semi, then Owen won the final and all. And that game always sticks out in that game, because Scurdy, I always remember Scurdy shouting, because I was videoing Danny's penalty, and I always remember Scurdy shouting, calm down, you need to calm down. You're all running about the headless chickens out there, just calm down now. And that's for some reason, that's all I remember about that actual game. The goal that they took it on, and him scoring the penalty, and Scurdy just telling him to calm down while everybody else is going mental. You know what I mean? So, just stories like that. So, is there anything for yourself, Phil, sticks out as you had a good journey or a journey where it went wrong?
Well, that journey, and that's the semi-final. All semi-finals we played in this place, none of them are great. They're all crappy kind of games, you know what I mean? But we seem to have a better ball than what happened. And once you win them, once we go to the final, to get to 10 finals is great for us. And to win it back to back twice is even better. So the fighting spirit, I thought he boys that played the Finnart is phenomenal. Right?
Is there any, I wouldn't say is there any final better than others, but is there anyone that sticks out, or anyone that means a wee bit more?
I don't know what it is, man, it sticks out.
Aye, there is. 87.
2.5 left after 30 minutes.
Friday.
Don't mind mentioning it. Aye, we were doing 2-0 within 10 minutes now.
Aye. That Dundee team.
Aye. Don't know, just everything they done right. Didn't they pick up, and I was just trying to get him into the dressing room to kind of get him a bollocking, but didn't do that. I talked to him in the dressing room and went back out. The boys were brilliant in the second half. Ended up looking back and won 3-2, won the finals, so the decision was right in the end, wasn't it?
Aye,
Who won a young boy Wilson?
Right.
Young Wilson.
Diggs?
Excellent, he done well for a young boy. But steadied the shit a wee bit and they just went for there.
What about getting lost? Did you ever get lost going to grounds?
Oh, all the time, man.
Whose fault was that?
Usually a driver anyway.
Who's driving?
Ah,
Who drives?
driving Miss Lady.
Stuart?
Listen, Toby, see all the years driving that minibus to games and whatever, I might have took a bit of stick all the years for, as you say, that daft nickname that you gave me, whatever, but at least we always go there, and plenty, all the games got played, it could have been worse, could have got the team arriving there at 2:30 and all that nonsense, but no, credit for that, no, nothing, man, just slag, well here comes Miss Daisy, that name's stuck, man. Guys, what call me that, never?
It's not your fault, the fans have got a limiter on it, Stuart, that's all you had to say.
That's a good answer.
You know what I mean? I obviously argued you a wee bit of ribbon and all, because I still remember Abington Services, which is nowhere near Les Mahago, so I don't know how we ended up there, you know what I mean? But aye, there's been some crazy journeys. Oban, I always liked Oban. Oban was good.
Oh,
Aye, superb.
You know what I mean?
Superb.
And I know you didn't like driving there and back, you know what I mean?
No.
I think Barnsley drove back one time,
He
we
did.
went into give you a break.
They were out when they did a beer that night. Barnsley, man.
he would have been that guy.
Do you know when they drove us back to he says his garden says he'll take you back to Finnart, and I think you were in the front row here, kind of brave guy, and I was in the back, man. He just comes out of Finnart, you know, you go into that pure carriageway. The ball Barzy, man, it was zooming, and I says to Paul, have a wee look at that speed, what is it? Well, he's saying, he turns round as if it was not a minute. He's saying the ton. Slow down, man, slow down. Oh, I know how to do that, man.
Mental. Journeys, Stuart, you've been on a lot of journeys. What would you say is your, obviously they're slag you for that, but what's been your, was there any grun you loved going to, driving to, or?
I think like yourself, I like the open, I like going to the open, driving the open. A couple of times we've done the Campbelltown joint, quite like that and all. Right up to the edge of nowhere, up there. Aye, enjoyed that.
In Aberdeen a couple of times, Scottish.
Aberdeen.
Dundee. You were up in Dundee every second week, aye.
We were up there a lot, weren't we?
Aye.
See on the Scottish, how when it gets to the semi-finals, how do they determine where you're playing? How, so a team for Aberdeen and a team for Glasgow, but they just go in the middle?
No, sometimes it's
Should one with that, it did they always.
Aye. A few times we were sitting in the semi-final and they put into a park that they run about, likes the Gaelic Life Park, shuttles and no parks close on. Never did get a whole year. Never did. I think we got it once. It was Glencairn, wasn't it?
They would ask us to give options of parts we could get, junior parts, and we done that. But see, most of the time, if we're playing a Dundee team, for whatever reason, get us at Dundee.
Just knew we like to do it, but...
Maybe I didn't really bother as much because we went there and done the job. That was the main thing. I mean, no, I did. Good.
See talking about obviously like the Scottish right, I can't remember what one it was, but you gave everybody the strips after it. Do you remember? What was that for? Why did you do that? Because you didn't do that with everybody. What was the idea behind that?
Not got a clue.
Cost yourself an absolute fortune.
I did. Had to buy an ass strip for 4 years.
Because we only got it for the final, wasn't it? Got a brand new strip for the final, and then it was after it all that we were getting the strips. Even you get strips, thousands of the strips. You know what I mean? But so through the years, sponsors. Let's talk about sponsors through the years and where you went. Pub game. I always remember the Keystone when I first came on the series. Where was that for that?
At Taylor Bells.
Taylor Bells. Right.
You're right.
Taylor Bells at one time.
So we had them.
Scotsman.
Right. You've had the Scotsman was for years. Jackie Mitchell.
Aye. Keystone.
Oh, it was in your first one. Oh, sorry.
Who?
Sorry.
Oh, aye, Roy. Aye.
Big Roy. He sponsored me.
So the Scotsman sponsored you under 3 different owners.
Aye.
Basically then,
Aye.
and then you plus you the Keystone. Where else?
Keystone were good. So was the Scot.
Good nights, always good nights. Keystone was, I remember Kenny was the Scotsman, the Keystone, wasn't it?
Aye.
Remember that. I was only young then, you know what I mean?
Aye, Kenny.
We used to be for the shows sometimes, didn't we?
Aye.
So that's a shop, isn't it? Is that shop?
Is
that the shop next to Park Lane?
That's a show.
Aye.
I remember that now.
The Walkers, they sponsored us.
Keystone.
Walkers.
Aye.
But it's all local pubs and businesses, like even like to the butcher, Davy Cox, sponsoring you. And then you'd your mates have all dug deep through the years and all, you know what I mean?
We talk. Big Rex. A few others now. Yeah, I wouldn't help. Didn't really help us. John Caboon sent his money doing a house.
Aye. That's it, if people, and it's not saying they're fortunate enough, but they're in a position where they can and they've played with the team, they know how much it means just to get by. I mean, like Brian, the way Brian's doing it now, and Philip putting their bit in, you know what I mean, giving up their time and as much as they can, drop a wee bit in here and there to help out. You know what I mean, we've always sold football kids, always done the tote, you're still doing the tote. It's probably the longest tote run I've ever known in my life. You know what I mean?
Still good.
We've got the lottery thing as well. I mean, so there's a lot of different opportunities and fundraising out there, and that's needed. because as we said earlier on, the amount of money it takes week in, week out to run every single team from top to bottom. You know what I mean? You've got the referees fees, you've got the pitch fees, you've got training, you know what I mean, and you've got strips on top of that. Plus you've also got day-to-day match costs, you know what I mean? You've got to get there, fuel motors up, fuel vans up, hire a van, depending, you know what I mean?
Well, we've never got the money bus, that's a big thing for us. People should use me, but hopefully it should do us a couple of years anyway, and just work our way up there. Get a better van.
Who's driving that? No, Stuart, surely. You still driving? There you go. Talking about driving and that, Irvine, remember we went to Irvine?
Ah, brilliant.
Stuart, you got Irvine this weekend?
Am I going this weekend? I says to me, if I can get a babysitter for a wee fella, I'll go to Irvine this weekend.
So Irvine was a great day out. I remember going down, but obviously before it, to see the pub and that, and have a few beers, you know what I mean? But that was some days out, and people don't realise, it was a great time going down there. Even Colin Blair speaks about it when we went to the Magnum for a shower and a swim, and there was like 18 or 20s going in. And Colin's at the end, he's coming and now, You know what I mean? He's like, there's Uncle Phil had to pay for everybody to get in, you know what I mean? Phil's like, 8, the guy's like, that's about 20 past it, you know what I mean? Some of them are waiting, all that, but just things like that, you know what I mean? We were talking like friendlies and all that, where to play teams like the Mermaid, you know what I mean? How the games were, things like that, Scottish Cups, everybody spoke about them, you know what I mean? Speaking about all the sponsors, and it just shows you that people who are local, all your local businesses, pubs, are willing to get behind the team, you know what I mean? It shows the 30-40 year it's been going, I'm not saying you've had somebody out with or whatever, but you probably have had people, well, we know we've had people out Bothwell or whatever sponsoring as well, directly a wee bit of sponsorship, and the amount of teams we've got now, we need to cast the web a wee bit further to get sponsorship, you know what I mean? We can't rely on the same individuals who have been sponsoring us time and time again and supporting the club, and that's the thing that we take up on all. I mean, if anybody's watching this back, they want to get involved, you know what I mean, get involved with the club as a sponsor. So
all the years it's been very good. Even all my backs are sent a couple of 2 years and all at one time. He's been in England one, so all that helps, you know what I mean? I don't really know much about the way people use money.
because people usually do it just off their own back, and they don't want anything for it, they don't want any plaudits or whatever, or any praise. Aye.
The Buffalo Boulders, they sponsor us, go as a strip. Just didn't want it, I always get the strips rain from. Just didn't want it because his main worry was other people come.
So I didn't see that, they want it.
We are stuck in wind maybe.
Aye, well, it's alright, he's no sponsoring anybody else apart from us, is it? So. But so anything that we've done through the years, it's been like guys like yourself, it's driven it, it's pushed it. I mean, we've got, as I say, we've got all the different coaches now doing the exact same as what you did at the start. How long do you see Finnart going for between you? Do you see it continuing, or how long would you like to see it go for? Forever?
As
long as it can?
Like say Gary, Jamie and all that, they're doing a lot of work behind the scenes and that. Some of the other coaches are doing work behind the scenes. They're kind of Finnart boys, you know what I'm talking about, they don't know what in it. We've still got all the other ones that maybe can do a lot more than what they're doing. But that's really up to ourselves.
Well, you look at now, you just mentioned him earlier, Wilson, right? So he's playing in he's captain, isn't he? Captain of the amateurs, so he was playing, 17s, he's been there for under 17s, you know what I mean? So he's been there. Derek, so he's been there for his under 17, so he's been there probably 15, 16, 17 years, you know what I mean? Long time. I mean, he's actually said to me yesterday when you get the testimonial for him, you know what I mean? But it's a long time for somebody to be the one, you know what I mean? And even had that bad injury, he was doing as much as possible on the sticks, on the crutches, giving the boys support. I mean, it's things like that shows you the morale in a team where even if a guy's injured for 5-6 months, he's still got to be there and support the rest of the team.
You part for was 19 years.
There you go. That's 2 testimonies, your part. I mean.
Well, Banning about 17 years. Yeah, I kept 40, you know what I mean?
They get a lot of guys like that for this to get them on.
Aye.
You know what I mean? So, we've had the 2 dances. What was the think behind them? Was it just because 25 year was a big deal, or just did you want to just celebrate it, or do you want to, was there an idea behind it?
Yeah, I thought it was for the right thing to have one.
Right.
And it was quite right. Smashing right.
Do you have any memories about that?
Not really, just doing that quick, you know what I mean?
Aye.
That whole night did go quick, that. One day to the dances.
Aye.
I think the word for everybody was that we all had a right good time.
Well, that's it. It's about bringing people together. I mean, because each dance is a different clientele, so to speak. Because the first one was a lot of the older players were there.
Aye.
I mean, bring them back then. The last one there was like a lot of parents of the kids and all that. You know what I mean? It's going to now. So, I just think it's a great thing. I think we should be able to, not saying do that every year, but I think we should have something on a yearly basis to bring all the teams together. You know what I mean? A night or something, just even if it's just coaches and their partners, just to have a night at the end of the season for everybody like that. You know what I mean? Just I know we all do our own thing, we all do our own fundraising things, whether it be race nights or a dance.
It'd be great to have that, all the coaches with their wives out and that, because a lot of times now, with Finnart, when you used to have our dances every year, play the year dances, they all keep their wives.
Yep.
That kind of generation, you're not interested in bringing their girlfriends or their wives anyway. They're all just all the guys out together.
Well, that was one of the things we were talking about on the lockdown stuff, where people used to, you remember it, Stuart, where you'd look round and there'd be people like Math, McD, Mikey B, away out the room, come back in dressed as women, with a Mrs. Clover on, you know what I mean? Or some other bird clover on, if you've never had a Mrs, because I was just kind of, some of the stuff was unbelievable. I mean, it was in here, there's a Demand Centre up at the Higby and the Masonic up in Calton as well. Stevenson Street, aye, so I mean just things like that. The laughs that we've had at nights has been phenomenal. What always sticks out for me is that the 25th year dance was for me was brilliant.
Yeah, that was brilliant, you know.
Big deal, you know what I mean? And I've still got miniatures in the house that have not been opened, and the vodkas like that, whiskies like that. So I mean, but what it's for me was I've jumped a taxi, jumped a taxi and driving a line. I'm like, forgot something here. I said to the guy, mate, my missus when we get in this taxi. He's like, no, I'd left Suzanne, Brian's one. He said, you better come back, she's sitting with you. He's left. Jumped in a taxi, go back round the block. I just got out the taxi, paid the guy, went back in, another couple of hours, sitting in somebody's room drinking. Aye, that was brilliant, you know what I mean, loved it. The last, obviously, the big one there we just had, 40 was like totally different because you fired on to me to go up and do the talk, which was great for me as well to be give that honour to go up there and talk about things and give people their place and tell these stories what's happened the other year and just to thank everybody for coming along, you know what I mean? So that was always good. One thing I always sticks out for me, I know Biffy's were at it as well, was the speakers night with Big Jim Leishman and Willie Young the rest.
Aye, it was good, wasn't it?
Absolutely amazing. How do we know the amount of that stuff? Or?
I had fun arranged for this.
Right, because of this again.
This again, blocked the tickets done.
Aye. It'd be good once this is done.
Going back to that one.
Aye. Be good to get that because it was a good night. You know what I mean, they were really good. And the banter back and forth. You know what I mean, was really good and all.
About Westy or the other ones. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So one of the young guys did. I'm going to try and have one if it clears up. You know what I mean? Just need to wait and see.
I don't really get much else. So you guys, if you want to just either talk about yourselves or something you want to say, or is there anything that comes to your mind about the club early years, you know what I mean, you want to pick up on it, just let the guys doing the camera know what it's about. Do you feel any different from the day you started to the now? Are you still got the same drive, passion?
Aye, maybe happening. Just in that lockdown there, Kathy suddenly looked at me and says, you know, made you 41 years, I didn't know you had blue eyes. And that's the night I'm never in. So, Yeah, Monday right through, I mean, maybe had meetings or else going to the mini kickers, always something to do.
Aye. How's it been for you, Stuart?
Aye, it's been good. Just to see it all happening in front of you. I think it kind of flies by when you look back at everything that you've been and the places you've been and all the rest of it. It kind of flies by, and good to see us moving on and all that, and maybe getting a wee bit higher up with with our own team, and as you mentioned, the younger teams and all that and all that. We'll keep going for a long time to come. Yeah.
I think just what you said there, it flies by. I think you take it for granted, don't you? It's like the end of it. I mean,
Aye.
I'm just done thinking now about the Gate final. You know what I mean? Where they've come off the bus as if they were Billy big time, they had their camera crew and all that. They were there, put in the paper as Ayrshire Barcelona. I don't know who did them that. And they just came out. I don't know if they got stage fright or they just took the game right to them, but we were fantastic that day. But to look back at that now, that seems like
Can you
a lifetime.
when that was? What year?
2004, 2005.
15, at least 15 years ago.
Easy, aye, maybe.
They did come off like that, as
Aye.
if they were.
And see, the thing was, they produced that video, they put it out there. I tried to find it to add it onto our page, and it's away now. Because I had the actual link and all that, and I'd kept it, and it was always on my wee inbox thing. I put it on, it says no longer, this video is no longer available. So they took it down, or the media company did it, took it down. But that they turned up, we totally blown away that day. I mean, but I always remember thinking, no, just when we were talking there, how fast it went, that was some day, you know what I mean? Absolutely, to be part of that and be there in the dressing room with all the boys, and now you're thinking, like, it feels as if it was 20, 30 years ago, but it's, you know what I mean, it's 15, if it is, you know what I mean?
Aye.
But it is a long time to look at it now and think like that. Right.
What the finals of that for the season? Seem to fly by.
I think it's not only being like big-headed or cheeky, but I think when you're winning stuff, I don't think you appreciate it as much until you know, or you've moved on. You know what I mean? Like, I remember that Andrew Blair, for instance, was getting his medals. You had to say it a few times, what are you getting medals with, Phil and Stuart? I've got me in the house. And now he should be giving the medals to wee Lexia, to the rain, passing the rain, you know what I mean? But where are they? Who's got them? Where did they go? You know what I mean? I just think, I think the boys, I wouldn't say they were big-headed, they just, it wasn't, they wanted to win, you know what I mean, and they always did win. And that group, for maybe about 4 or 5 seasons, about that time when I was right involved with it, was probably an absolute fantastic time. Saying go to the pubs after every game, we go out on Saturday, we wouldn't be out on Sunday. You know what I mean? I moved house, had to get the first home, and we were talking about this every time trying to get home, you'd walk each other up and down the street. Can't end up Kathy to come and say to me, listen, get in the motor, I'll drop you off. I said, no, I'm going to leave. She said, you've been leaving for an hour and a half, you've been walking up down that street.
I did that with boys here, no?
You know what I mean?
Walked in Waterbridge, he walked me back.
Aye.
Married that then.
I mean, so just thinking like that and things that you actually start, your brain starts working a wee bit more and you start thinking about things. So there'll be loads of stuff that we've not spoken about tonight that will be good to get. And so I say we can do the one-to-one stuff even better, because when you're sitting one-to-one, you've got a lot more to talk about. I mean, because it just flies out. You know what I mean? But
For a long time, Big Kenny Crampton, Big Kenny. They were up at Aberdeen, went back to there, and they all went back into Scotland. So Kenny's boat, 2,000 cans of cramps, like he's planked just above the driver, the driver's seat,
Aye.
planked him up there. You ended up down with me, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So they were up my back, so Kenny's up there, and I did some cans and we're all drinking away. So me, him, but Alec was we were sitting there for half an hour, fucking full case. So we were taking a can at a time. So they were going for them, I said, no, put them all back in. We kept on, same time we go to the Scotsman, we walk him off. Next minute Kenny's walked off the bus. I went, oh, we got a fresh something on there. Jumped by his phone. Next minute he came off. Kept me empty cans all the place. You dirty bastards. Because he's taking them in.
aye, for after the pub, brilliant.
Aye, me, Stuart, Alec, that time.
Brilliant, man.
See, sometimes you think back to whether it was me driving it was, but on many occasions when we go to finals, you know, we had to run up with the club had the funds and we hired a coach. Sometimes the people will remember to see the times on the coach and the fun going up to it and the laugh coming back after, well, most times that we had won it and all that. That was a bit special too.
I remember it used to be going, people would have their own seat. They always said, I need to sit there. Danny was the worst. I had to sit in that seat in the toilet, and we Liz would come on with pieces and sandwiches for everybody. I mean, me and Dale still talk about it now. She fed everybody. I mean, made sure she'd come on with like a hamper, man, because nobody else would be thinking about eating or nothing. They'd be thinking about swally. All the boys sitting with their headphones on, and that was another thing I know, because used to have the bus would be like split. Players would be up the back, and then the family or whoever your missus and that would be down the front. So, and it was good to have that, take that leg. Yep, to have support, or people who come to support you on that day as well, on the bus, gives you that wee sense of a bit more, they're here to see us. You know what I mean? I think that worked for it as well. I mean, but you say going there and coming back in the bus, totally different. I mean, especially you're coming back and you've got the cup in the bus. You know what I mean? Men, like drink. It is.
After one of the Scottish Cup final, Jack Sands busted one of the ladies in. Just singing, he's punching it next man, right through it. That cost us £100.
Well, it's that feeling when you, as Toby mentions about that cup coming back, and it gets passed on for that wee sit. That's special, isn't it? That's definitely special.
I mind a couple of times, obviously we used to sit at the pub, we used to go and use it down and all that for that. Aye, well we've won that, there was pass it and we've won it, use it to fill it, what you put in it, don't know, just fill it up with head, you know what I mean, but just because you can, you know what I mean, I think that's, miss that a wee bit, you know what I mean, it's, just, Phil, you said, this generation is totally different, because back 10, 15, 20 years ago, you went out, you socialised a lot more, you know what I mean, yep. As soon as the game was done, you were out. And even when the Saturday team, we've heard this over and all, the Saturday team, when they had the Saturday and the Sunday, so boys would get sat Phil saying, right, back to the pub, we're at the pub. Come boys are drinking orange juice, some are having a pint. You did have a pint. No, I'm playing tomorrow for the Sunday team. No, have a pint. And then the next day we're doing like you were drinking yesterday. You know what I mean? Stick them in, basically. But, so I think that needs to, not saying you need to get that back, but you need to try and get the boys to bond a wee bit more, to keep them out. Drinking's not for everybody, it's not, don't get me wrong, but it's...
I used to go to the snooker scene up in Rowan.
You know what I mean? To tell Toby, see the first Scottish Cup one, see the Saturday night Cup. You're talking about socialising and all that. We knew they were going out on the Saturday, or they spoke about it and all that.
No.
So we went in.
For the final.
So you went out afford it to make sure they were...
And see who was in.
And the region, turned a couple of them about the region.
And walking around the top team, you know what I mean?
Aye. So they were brand new for the next day.
It's not very professional, is it?
Got big cramps and
Swilty.
big archie worry.
Swilty? No.
Aye, Swilty. And he's supposed to be watching them.
Aye, that's how he was out, that's what he says.
Aye. I was keeping an eye on me.
Brilliant. Well guys, that's pretty much it. As I always like to say, you've been listening, watching, taking in stories from Finnart from the Toll podcast, from myself, Toby, Phil, Blair and Stuart McKechnie. Thanks very much for watching. Morning Star.
Cheers, Morning Star.
Cheers, Morning Star.